Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you recommended me on mod.io. And for today we're looking at something that I haven't looked at for quite some time, and that's a space-based speeder, which is quite a hard sentence to say, but it's this lovely thing that I'm currently standing on. So this is called the Salus Engineering Ion Jumper LX, which is a very elegant, very sleek looking speeder bike to scoot around in space via some ion thrusters. It features two gatling guns for a bit of defense, it uses both batteries and a singular reactor for power, and I have tested it out quite thoroughly that it does not need to use that reactor, so if you do not have uranium, if you don't want to use the reactor, you can easily just switch that off, or just use it as an emergency recharge. If your batteries start to get low, you just flip that on, set the batteries to recharge, and away you go. So anyway, press the F10 to find the spawn menu. The Salus Engineering is 105 small blocks, and I do not know why it has been censored in both the title and on the description page itself, but it's supposed to say Ion Jumper, so God knows why that's been flagged. Yes, it uses no mods, it uses no scripts, but it does use a couple DLC packs which are not listed on the workshop page. So I'm going to give this a thumbs up, which I already had, because I had recorded this before, but unfortunately some plonker forgot to check his hard drive space, and well, lost the entire audio file, so here we go again. Yes, you just click that, come around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside, they'll go drive around for a bit, see what I can do, and then there should be some space pirates nearby, where we should be able to attack it, test out the guns, and just put it in unfair combat. So my character can now get into the seat, there we are, back into the free camera, and here we are for the very front, the Ion Jumper LX. So right at the very front, this is what we get, and that's a large ion thruster, which is one of two large ion thrusters that appear on the ship. The other one is at the very back to propel you around, and of course this one is to slow you down, which does give you some respectable speed when scooting around. The left and right of that we then got some batteries, both conveyor caps on the front of them, and access panels on the top for a bit of extra decoration. Then to the left and right of that we've got spotlights, which are currently blinding us. We can also see a bunch of small ion thrusters which have been put to very good use all the way around this ship by making use of the actual model itself for decoration rather than actually putting decorative pieces on this ship. It's just a very simple way to minimize the overall size of the ship while making it look great. Anyway, move around onto the side. Here we go. We can see our iron thrusters for our left and right. So we've got two at the front, two at the back. And there's a very clear view of our gatling guns, which have a gyroscope on the back of them. The gatling guns do not have any kind of connection systems on there, so there's no cargo container for you to store ammunition inside. There's no way to link it up to a master container system. They are just simply a go around the back of them, shove ammunition inside, then just don't waste it on unnecessary things. Yes, we can see some lovely dark grey beam blocks here bridging across from our Salus cockpit to the side of those ion thrusters. Then over to here, below our Salus cockpit, we then got even more ion thrusters, just adding as both a small platform as well as a way to move up while in space. Behind there we've got an antenna and a connector, a small block connector which is a bit of an awkward position, but you should be able to manage it if you do create a piston system on your base or another ship to go and reach out to this and connect up to it. We'll get a better look at that when we go around the back of it. Moving away, come around towards the very back here. Here we go. And then got some armoured panels being used as a small spoiler. There's our other large ion thruster. There's some more spotlights acting as brake lights. Then over to here, this is where a small reactor is sitting. So it's got a small cargo container on the front of it. Once again, a conveyor cap. So we need to remove that, put uranium inside. That should give us a nice lot of power. Now, when I say nice lot of power, it still maxes out to 100% while moving this thing around. But because we're not on a planet, there's no risk of this thing crashing down to the ground because the power is overloaded and the thrust is not working. Being in space, it's all perfectly fine, as I've tested. Anyway, to the left of that, we've got a few more batteries, once again with a conveyor cap on the end of it. Then moving all the way up and looking down, here we go. So we can see our large ion thruster has been connected up via the actual bridge from the cockpit towards the very back. There's some more ion thrusters to move us down. Then moving all the way across towards the middle here, that's where I'm sitting, and there's our gyroscopes attached onto our gatling guns. But all the way over here, on the front of our large ion thruster, we then got some LCD screens, some dark grey blocks, then we've got some white blocks which have been attached on via some neon tubes. So first of all, these LCD screens have nothing going on with them, there's no programmable blocks on this, no any kind of fancy information, they're purely there to do what you want them to do. So if you want to, you could attach on some programmable blocks, put some important information on there, or use the standard scripts of having your power, your artificial horizon, or time of day and all of that. It's entirely up to you with what you want to use these for. But as for the steel block behind them, and then of course on the side there, just coming all the way across, these are basically your fake wing mirrors, but that's an absolute fantastic use of the neon tubes, just bridge it all the way across, because they're not directly connected onto it, that's how it's been attached up. It's just a novel way of attaching them onto it, while being directly connected onto it by a steel block. Yes, just zooming away there, that's what it looks like from a distance. And of course there's the very front, power's been angled up, on top of that ion thruster. Anyway, coming all the way down underneath this thing, past all this, here we go. So there's the bottom of our batteries at the front there. There's our Gatling guns. There's some more ion thrusters to talk about below our saddle cockpit. Towards the back there's our antenna, and of course our small connector. Moving all the way around like so, coming up like that. There we are, that's simply how it sits. So like I said, you will need to have a piston system or some sort to come all the way across to this. Or if you don't want to actually use this, if you don't want to use it as an actual connection system, you can have it as a small storage bay, put a few power packs in there, put a few med kits in there, or maybe some oxygen hydrogen bottles, then attach on some magnetic plates onto this, clamp it down, put the batteries into recharge, switch on your reactor, shove in some uranium, use that to recharge the entire vehicle without having to have it connected directly up. Anyway, as for that, that's pretty much it for the outside of the Ion Jumper LX, and it looks bloody fantastic with how it's always set up. It's very sleek, very race-like with its overall design. Looks like it could be something from Oban Star Racers, which is a very old show now. It's kind of scary to actually think about that. But yes, it looks like it could be something racing around the race course at high speeds. And of course, would do very well in a death race, thanks to its Gatling guns attached underneath it. But yes, grabbing hold of my character, bringing up the HUD, these are the controls we get. Before we actually go through the controls properly, what I'm going to do is turn off the reactor at the back there. So that's now being fully switched off. We're purely on battery power. So moving forwards, here we go, we see our power is maxing out. But as you can see from the actual controls all the way around this, it's not really too bad at the end of the day. We've still got reasonable control over this, to the point that it's still basically the same as many ships I've showcased in the past, in terms of its maneuverability, despite it maxing out power. And like I said, because there's no atmosphere, there's no risk of this thing slowly coming down to the ground, where you may not even notice you're coming down to the ground, and we'll just crash into it and blow up because of it. Anyway, turning it back on, moving around again, we're still going to be maxing out the power, but it's not as bad. You can see several flicks of it moving into reasonable power usage, so you use this regardless of whether you want the reactor on or off. But as for the rest of the controls, we've got 1, 2, and 3 for our ion thrusters all the way around this, where number 1 is a master toggle, so now we can no longer move this. Turning it back on, 2 and 3 is for your thruster override to go to a cruise. So say you want to go over to your station, say you went exploring quite far away, looking at a few asteroids, looking at a few abandoned wreckages, you can just aim your ship towards the destination you want to go, activate this, and just take your hands off the keyboard, go make a coffee, and you'll eventually get there, but don't take too long because you could go slamming into it and blow up everything you wanted to keep. Anyway, number 4 is then for your Gatling guns, find them both together. There we go, so we can do a light pair combat. Number 5 is then for your connector below the ship to lock and unlock it. And then finally, number 6 to turn the spotlights at the front on or off. Number 9 is a control I added on myself, so do excuse that. But you can't always add that on yourself, because it might be a bit useful in the long run. Anyway, moving that over to tab number 2, we've got nothing else, so it's time to properly drive this thing around. Then we're going to go find some space powers and test it out in unfair combat. So moving forwards, here we go with everything turned on. This is the speed we get, and thanks to that one large ion thruster at the back, we've got some very respectable speed. Come to a stop should be identical, because we've got the same thrusters forwards and backwards. So there we are, we've got a nice stopping time, so there's not really any risk of you crashing into stuff unexpectedly, because of how quickly you can actually stop. Moving left, and move right, again, some very nice speed for that. A little bit slower than forwards and backwards, but still very nice for manoeuvring this around. And letting it come to a stop, moving down. There we've got 4 thrusters. The moving up should be slightly faster because we've got 2 more thrusters to move us up. And there we are, so we should be able to go in the very, very light gravity field. So like on the moon, that should be perfectly fine, but not in the Earth-like planet because you will come crashing down to the ground. Yes, as for that, what we're going to do now is come through with this, try and find some space pirates, hopefully they're spawned, might need to jump around a little bit to actually find them, and then we'll go and shoot them up to see what it does. So here we go, what I've done is found a space pirate commercial freighter, which looks like it's going to be a perfect target to actually test this vehicle out. Last time in my previous recording that failed, I went up against a giant red ship, or a giant wreckage of a ship that only had a single Gatling gun on there. This did very well against it, means I didn't actually know where the shots was coming from, managed to survive and actually disarm it completely. But this is going to be a complete unknown, because I can't really see what's going on because there's no camera on this, and looking at it in a first person view, it's very difficult, because that little lip right in front of the LCD screens. But here we are, we're now 1 kilometer out. Very, very soon we're going to find out if they have a lot of guns on there. Almost 800, there we are, they should open fire, they do have guns on there. Now we're just going to get a bit closer. There they are, there's all the guns. We're just going to have to open fire and hope for the best for this. I have a feeling this is going to get torn to shreds very, very quickly. So we're going to keep moving up. Hopefully they will not hit me in important areas. They were in the first person view. They will slowly whittle away those blocks on the front there, which will make it a bit easier to actually aim. There is a gun there. I'm going to now try and aim in that direction. There we go. We've now lost the entire front. That now makes it a little bit easier to aim the Gatling guns. So now I'm going to shoot in this direction. And hopefully I can disable that gun on top. Maybe we can, maybe we cannot. That looks like it has been disabled. Yes, it has. There was the explosion. I have a feeling that's going to be it. Yes, it is. The cockpit has now been completely disabled. We lost all of our thrusters. but I did manage to disable one of their Gatling guns. Looks like they did have one more remaining. In fact, they got 2 more remaining. That's kind of a shame with that. That wasn't very armed for a freighter, so I wonder what they got on them. Still did very well at the end of the day for a bit of unfair combat. In actual combat against a small drone, which is what this thing is generally designed to handle, it would be a lot better, a lot more efficient at that. You can just blast straight into them and tear them in shreds. Anything bigger like this commercial freighter right next to me is going to be a bit of a crapshoot because you never know what kind of guns it's going to have on there. Any kind of rocket launcher will tear this thing to shreds in seconds, and having multiple Gatling guns can prove a bit of an issue if you do not know where they're located on the vehicle. But yes, as it stands, this thing is a fantastic little vehicle to use in your world. If you do want to have a light exploration vehicle, go out and about and scout asteroids, see what kind of resources they have on them. Go out and about and scout abandoned wreckages to see if they're safe to approach with a larger ship. And of course to go over to trade stations in the event your main ship is too big to actually approach the station and fit in the safe zone bubble. So I'll be linked to it in the description below to which you download and play around yourself. I highly recommend you do, as well as links to the Skybox I'm currently using. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.